Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Desk. This is episode 187. My name is JCS. This is my platform to rant, rave, bitch, and bemoan all things encompassing OCW and its subsidiaries. Listener discretion is strongly advised. I have guests today, so I guess I will introduce them. First, it is the leader of DNS, the guy who has my CC info, unfortunately, and the person who helps maintain many of the databases and back-end pause no data, even though it's being free, which is kind of nasty work. The one and only Bash. Say hello.
Good afternoon.
And joining me on this expeditious expedition is one half of the Exciting Whites. You may know him as the man who put his hands on me, unfortunately. The man who lost to my boo and the I guess two CCWs and the longest reigning CCW until my boo, the one and only legendary, one of my favorite W's, B17. Hi, say hi.
I still suspended. That hasn't changed.
The man that Jinx called a relic earlier.
Yeah,
today.
the man that Jinx.
Oh, he did it again? Oh my god.
Yeah. It's it's funny. Somebody called Max yesterday old guard, and Max was like, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Good, now you know how it fucking feels." Like now these people like you're old, Max is old, Cass is old, Trey, like all these people are old now. So that means that they're old, and then like people like Dupree are older, and then people like my favorite Nate is oldest, and Trans are super old. Anyway. So we're trying to get to the nuts and bolts of why there's a death this time, and I was under the impression that it was requested by B17, but it was actually my request while he's doing the historical deep diving and whatnot. So I guess we'll go from there. So if I'm correct in my assumption, you said that you wanted me to kind of like work through like 2005 and 2009 or whatever like that to 2000. Because that's a lot of...
Yeah, 2009 is where I left off. To give context to anybody that's like listening and wondering what the hell this is, like you guys have probably heard me refer to the title database numerous times in the past, and you've probably heard people point out that there's like a bazillion mistakes in there, and that doesn't upset me because ultimately I'm not being paid to do this. Jay is not paying me to do this. So what happened is years and years and years ago, like this thing started like coming together. Not for me though. Other people have been in here for the longest time, and it was always like partial, incomplete, sometimes updated, sometimes not. And there's this huge discrepancy in terms of information available from 2005 all the way to about 2012. Information really just wasn't kept consistently, except for the OCW title, and even that was wildly inconsistent. So when I came back and I got a chance to start doing this again, I was like, I'm going to go back and start wherever the hell I can and start filling in as much as possible. So now we're at the point where I'm at 2009 with as much information that's readily available to me. So I have all the titles from the OCW Championship all the way to the X Division title to the light heavyweight title, to the tag team titles, the European, the OCWX title, which does not have much for history, but apparently still counts to Nate Ortiz. So that's where we stand. Like I've just been going back and finding as much information as possible, building my way towards today, and that's where we left off. And you told me I should like talk to you about this, and I should kind of keep you up to date on it. So that's what I've been doing, and kind of been filling in some random things here and there as well.
Okay, so what I can do on my end is I'm pretty sure I gave you it, but I have it in front of me anyway. Like I have a lot of stuff in the early part because I did keep records early into OCW, and then other people wanted to do it instead, and then they didn't. And as you can see by the version 2 image that you have in our exclusive private non-free channel with the Exciting Whites and myself, yeah, like you can see V2 was a whole lot of work. So that was relegated to somebody else. They kind of dropped the ball, and I never picked it up, and it's one of my greatest regrets. Either way, I have some stuff from there, which you may or may not have included. But one thing I did want to touch on, though, and maybe we can pivot to that eventually, because we're not going to be here forever, but still. You started ranking some of the years in OCW, like best year, like the recent ones. So you're up to 2009, but are you going from 25 down or 05 up? You're going from 25 down, right?
Well, I have context to just about every single year in OCW since 2006.
Oh, okay.
Like, I have like general ideas of what happened in 05, but I've gone back enough to skim through or to look through things, or just for my own personal entertainment. I've gone through and looked through a ton of the years, almost all of the years of OCW's history and stuff. And while I haven't gone through completely from, I would say, 10 to about 12, 13 is probably the years I know the least amount, but I've still dabbled in them enough to have a general idea of what's happening there. Mm-hmm. That I have an idea of where I think I would rank many of these. Like, what was the best year in OCW? What was the worst year in OCW? If you ever talk to me, it's not going to be a surprise what year that is and stuff. But yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 years that are like firmly ranked. I know this is where they're going to go, and then the rest of them are kind of in this. I need to fully look at the year before I officially rank it.
Okay. So I can tell you, like, the early part of OCW, to give us a quick recap for the historians. If you don't care about history, by all means, go fuck off, glaze yourself, or I don't care. So SmackDown vs. Raw was the first platform we used actively, and that was November 2nd, 2004. So OCW was built in October of 2004, but conceived offline in 2003, but we'll work with the 4. So November 2004 is when the game was released. So we didn't really start any kind of shows roughly until December. However, given the limitation of technology, I'm pretty sure what we had for shows in like December of 2004 was more or less nothing like we have now, obviously, but I do vaguely remember, because I remember the V1 site. A lot of it was building up on, like using those first couple months to like kind of get everybody situated, and then we would start competing. So December we may have had an event, but the way it worked, if I'm not mistaken, was basically it was very much, since you really couldn't record, you would just kind of like you would do your match, and then you would kind of paraphrase what happened, like the old EFEDs basically, but it was text based. But you would kind of recap your match. You didn't have to be super elaborate or whatever. But 500 by the way, Jim, just so you know. I was trying to pull up the site for something. So you would basically paraphrase what happened, and you would write the winner, and then we would go from there. Back then we had a payment system and whatnot also, so players would get contracts and da. Anyway, so we didn't really kick off until 2005 per se. And in 2005, let me go to 2005. It looks like our first event that was basically SmackDown versus Raw. We did it for maybe, I want to say we did a couple matches for about 3 or 4 months, which were vaguely recorded. I remember it was Johansson, Danny Williams. I don't think Nate was here at the time until like late 05, if I'm not mistaken. I can check when I go to the record. Go ahead, correct me.
Oh, no, I have it right here. Like Danny Williams fought Nate Ortiz and Recon. Those were the names that were kind of floating, and Giamon. Those were the names that were floating around the OCW title at that time and stuff.
Okay.
So Nate Ortiz is awarded the OCW title June 26, 2005. So he must have been around pretty early within the year.
Yeah.
Some spot to be there.
Yeah, no, because I know that what happened is we started with SmackDown versus Raw, and then this thing came out. WrestleMania 21.
20. It's WrestleMania 20, the game?
WrestleMania 21, the game. That came out April 3rd, 2005. So we essentially did, it looks like OCW did from like December until probably March or April. We used SmackDown versus Raw, and then we assumed that because Xbox WrestleMania 21 would be next generation, we would assume that we would have cross compatibility between Europeans and Americans or whatever, and that was not the case. And the game was also was very bad. So I think we did from April till August of 2005. We tried WrestleMania 21. It didn't work out, and then we went right back to SmackDown versus Raw, and we had SmackDown versus Raw from like August until November of 5th of 2005 when we had SmackDown versus Raw, and then that's when everything kind of stabilized and shit, and we were able to just like fucking Bob's your uncle and shit like that. I do think though, if I'm not 100% sure that even with SmackDown versus Raw, Europeans still couldn't play Americans. I do know in the Xbox version, the one we had 2007, that was a thing. We were able to have everybody fight everybody. It didn't matter if they were European or American. I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that in 2006 SmackDown vs. Raw, Euros couldn't fight Americans. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, and it looks like our first recorded event was the Clash, and it was Nate versus Recon for the title. And I think Nate walked into that one. Do you have that one on the list? Nate walking in there with the title, or is it Recon the champion?
Recon would have been the champion.
Okay.
He took Danny Williams, and then eventually Nate Ortiz. It's kind of weird what happens here. Danny Williams defeats Recon, and then awards the title to Nate Ortiz. I don't know what that means.
That's just
the way it was worded. That's the way it was phrased. I don't know what that means necessarily, but Danny Williams doesn't show up like ever again. So I don't know.
Are you checking the Clash stuff? Because it might have been something. Oh, it might have been something with the. Yeah, if you read the Clash, there's like a RP and stuff attached to it.
Yeah, this is back. This stuff is back in like 05.
Yeah, this is early. Let me see. Don't be silly. This is fucking hilarious. As the show comes to the end, it's going to the Militia World. Yeah, because apparently it's the Militia World Heavyweight Championship. What?
So you have the sheer number of titles that you have, and you can say this from 2005 all the way to about 2007 when a bunch of them start to get merged with each other. And
it was ridiculous. And go ahead.
It's a crazy number. Like the fact that we can complain about the number of titles that we have today.
7.
It's an asinine complaint. We're talking about at some point you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
There's
9,
more. There's more.
10. You had 10 titles active at one given time, and I'm sure there were other times when there was more active, but I can say for a fact that at some point when you had this European and United States like divide that you had going here, there were 10 active titles and like 4 shows ongoing. It was crazy.
Well, I can tell you this from the snapshot from version 2, which is roughly 2006. We had it had U.S. division, European division, retired championships 1 and 2. So I can list you championships. We had OCW championship, we had OCW North American championship, OCW Extremist, fuck you Spider, division championship, OCW Tag Team championship, OCW Hardcore championship, OCW European championship, which would be equivalent to the OCW world title, but just for Europeans, OCW European television championship, OCW Commonwealth championship, OCW Euro tag team championships, and then retired at this time in 06, we had OCW X championship, OCW Unified championship, formerly the Americana championship, which Recon won first. I think that was the very, very first title we had, and I do believe Recon won that, and I don't think we have that in the records, to be honest with you. It's just actually coming to me right now. It's like mythology and lore put together. I feel like the ancient Dead Sea Scrolls, but I do remember vividly Recon becoming the Americana championship back in the day. OCW International Championship, OCW United States Super S Cup Championship, and then there's another OCW X Championship for Europe, and then there's the OCW European Super S Cup Championship.
Yeah, so the OCWX and the Americana, those merged to form, if I'm correct, they would eventually merge to become what is known as the OCW Championship. So they were like the front runners of the brand splits individual titles.
Yeah.
And eventually they merged into the OCW Championship. So they actually were active for a little bit in 2005-ish, I think, before they officially merged into something. Because you also have like this transatlantic world.
Yeah, I feel like transit.
And that's where everything merged, and I lost track because there's like 3 titles that get merged into one thing. Just on solo. Like I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
the transatlantic. Yeah, the transatlantic World War Tour. Oh my god. Oh Christ! I don't even know what the fuck we're. All right. Thanks for coming out, guys. We'll see you next week. Holy shit, dude. This is where
Nate Ortiz technically gets his 9th world title from. Yes, Nate Ortiz is officially at 9 world titles because he won the what title is this called again? OCWX, which eventually becomes the OCW title. He wins it against KSM, whom I don't know, in a transatlantic leather strap match, which I don't know what that means, but it exists. It's there. I can find it. It's there.
Yeah. And then, so wait, the transatlantic becomes the OCWX, right? Because it
becomes the OCWX, which eventually becomes the OCW because it merges with the oh my god,
we've done gone cross-eyed.
Yes. So at some point you have a ton of championships that are all floating around, and some of them disappear for periods of time. That's what 05 is.
Like yeah, 05 is a lot of, because then remember we split. We went into the WrestleMania 21, so that caused like we didn't have a lot of people, but that caused hemorrhaging. So like we lost a bunch of people because of that. Then we went to SmackDown versus Raw 06. That's where everything like started picking up. So from there, let me see. Oh, I don't have international, but I do know that a guy from GCW, or Xerox as I call it, was international champion. He wound up relinquishing or flaking rather, and then somebody took over that one. That's somewhere I just can't seem to. Matter of fact, it's right here. Where the fuck is it?
The Incredible Jace.
Yes.
Tyranny. Okay, so there we go.
Okay, so he was the first, and then Tyranny beat him to take it.
Tyranny beat him to take it. No, it was no.
No, he left. He flaked. So that it was given like a tournament or something.
It's listed as awarded by Mr. Sensation. Once again, this is one of those I can't find directly what happened, but I can find like.
Well, I know for sure he left here to go with Xerox, and it was basically fuck me. So I'm pretty sure then that would equate that I said okay, and I just gave it to fucking Terry Nee. If it's Terry Nee's the next person.
Tyranny then quit. This is what's listed. I'm sorry, I can't be more specific. Tyranny quits OCWX on ethical grounds. Like that's all it said. Like I can find him saying I'm leaving on ethical grounds.
Does it have the date on that? You don't have the date on that?
It happened somewhere between July 13th, 05 and September 25th. 05.
Okay, so that would coincide with losing to Nate Ortiz in the main of. Oh wait, no, main of Resolution. What? No, that can't be because he fought him at Resolution. When was Resolution 1? Do you have the date off the top of your head? It was 06, right?
Yeah, another thing that's in this. Actually,
I love this fucking
main events.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Another thing that's in this list is I keep track of Lucian main events. Unfortunately, 04 and 05, they're gone.
So no, that's because there wasn't a Lucian in 04 and 05. The first Lucian was 2006.
Okay, so the first Lucian is in 06. I don't have a date on it. I just have it listed.
I can find it for you. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
I'll tell you
it was Nate Ortiz. By the way, in case anybody was wondering, the first ever main event of Lucian was Nate Ortiz
versus Terry Nee.
No, versus.
Yes, but remember, like you didn't listen to the previous podcast, I think, or whatever the fuck it was. What happened with that was Terry fought Nate first, and then I'm not gonna reiterate the story, but long story short, it was supposed to be versus Ortiz, and then you know how people like to chit chat, so someone chit chatted to Terry, and then we wound up having Terry versus Nate, and then versus with the guest referee. Once Nate beat Terry and versus fought. So technically, that's a defense because he beat Terry, and then he fought versus and lost the versus, and versus left Lucian as the campeone.
Okay.
So make sure that's accurate.
I feel bad for Jim. We should get Jim involved in this. Like this is.
I mean, you said who else, and I mean if Jim wants to, it's fine. But it's like It was, you know what? I can be real with Jim. It's like if he's gonna add something, go for it. But if not, he can just listen. You want to add something, Jim? By all means, please.
Oh, I'll chime in when I feel good and ready.
Get in.
I didn't want you to have to listen to me like talk nonstop for 30 minutes. I know that can be kind of grating. You know, my voice is just, I don't know.
I've grown accustomed to it.
That's nice. That's very nice. Okay.
Fuck you.
You're getting me the date for this 06 thing.
Sure. This is the difficult part. Okay. When the fuck is this? Because it's in the it's in the archives, but for pay-per-views we don't have specifically like what's it called? Oh man, what is the date of wrestler? Oh my god, it had to.
There's a lot of stuff in the archives in case anybody ever goes back. There's a lot of stuff in there that doesn't have a date on it or it has an incorrect date.
Well, no, like pay-per-views generally just have like what's it called? The goddamn pay-per-view just don't have the date on them because it's the pay-per-view. So I know it's 2006. I'm just trying to remember when. I'm trying to see maybe. I'm trying to do a cheat. Jim, is there a way to look at like an image on a website and get the date that the image was generated?
Yeah, you download the image. Usually it shows the date created.
Okay. So I can't do it directly from like Inspect, right?
No, because it doesn't list the metadata normally in Inspect.
All right. So let me grab one of these save image as. Let's put it in the assets real quick. Card WAC, and this is back when my naming convention was very much like EMP's naming convention. It's like WCHKC, and that means World Heavyweight Championship. Okay, so you're actually incorrect, Jim, because I downloaded the image and it says date created 2025 and date modified 2025. Unless I can go deep in, right? Properties maybe. Let me see.
Yes, properties.
No, created, modified, access, details. Nah, the detail, everything's 2025, Jimmy.
Usually it retains the date, so I'm not sure why.
Look, I'm gonna send you the link to just one of the pages and see if you can find out the date on this. Because the way I can do it also would be to go into the .net hosting, but that requires logging into the different hosts, and it's not on the FTP as far as I'm aware. Let me try the FTP on it though. Exciting stuff, right, people? Yeah, fuck you. Enjoy yourself. I don't give a shit.
This
is basically old people talking about his history. TV, V3, V4.
Hey, if you don't like history, you're gonna be history one day anyway. So like,
you're gonna be like Max getting called a fucking old guard, which is man, that's so delicious. No, all my FTPs are not related to the net hosting anymore. I want to say that Lucian was. I don't have a specific date, and then the calendar doesn't even fucking work for this shit either. Lucian 2006 would have had to have been something like April, May, or June. It had to have been. It had to have been, because especially if we started, if like in the previous games, we always would start October, November, and then Lucian would always be at somewhere between April, May, or June. So let's just go with April, May, or June. When did you say that Tyranny left for ethical reasons? Terry, rather.
That was under the. Was that under the international that we were talking? Yeah. Okay. July 13th, he wins it. So sometime July, August, September.
Yeah.
He sometime in there.
Okay, so going by that logic, what I would assume is then I was actually incorrect in my old assessment. So he didn't leave because of the loss to Nate, but he did wind up, I guess, moving down the card a smidge, got the international, and then because I know he was also like a MMA guy, like a fighter or whatever, and he was traveling. So I think that's why his use was ethical reasons, because he had to leave to fight. I do believe. Okay. So I got my fucking like thinking about it now. I know he had a friend. I forgot his friend's name. But he had a friend who was also he had a friend who claimed he was Brendan Vera, and no one knew who that was because this was 2006. But apparently
he knew Brendan Vera.
No, there was a guy that claimed to be he said his name was Brendan Vera for some reason. But no one was like, people didn't.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it was actually Brendan Vera, but. I do know that Terry was a fighter, and the guy he was friends with was also like, I guess, a mixed martial arts of some sort. So whatever. So ethical reasons for him would mean that he went to go like train, and that was it. And good for him then. So I apologize. I said that he had left because he lost, but actually no, he went on and then he went to go fucking train. And hopefully he made money and not get kicked in the head. He just wants to bang, bro.
Maybe we've seen him. Cass probably seen him.
Probably.
Cass.
Stupid ass Cass. The overlap between Cass and OCW and OCF is kind of funny. But real quick on Resolution, the first Resolution 2006. The shout out here, just to give you a name of some of the lists of the names. Thank you everyone who participated. We have Geomon. We have Triple Q, David Nova, Nato Atiz, Blade, Tyler Fixer, Fuckface, Shitbull, Terry Nee, Samuel, Majin, Mike, which I'm assuming is Mad Mike, Sideshow, Nick Cage, Chris Mania, The Outcast, Lochi, Vega, Kareem, Yoho, Danny Williams, Jackhammer, RD Money, Steve Jones, Guy Fausto, Casey Payne, Trice, I don't remember that name at all, Trips, aka Trips, The Air, Val for now, and then I put etc. So those were the first people who held it down back in Resolution 2006, the very first Resolution. So shout out to those people, even the fuck faces, I guess. All right, where the fuck was I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
That's okay. Let me get you back on track here. This is the first year that I can officially rank in some capacity. Because 05 it's not possible.
04 is basically the building blocks, and we had a couple bullshit shows, and 5 is kind of like a non-starter because of the switching platforms and shit like that. So I mean, if you want to negate 05, it's fine. Stuff happened there, but a lot of it is very much EFED based, not super comp based, due to the fact of the separation between feds and shit, like locations. Continue. I apologize.
Yeah. So right now I have this ranked, and this might be surprising and maybe even too high. I don't know how far GM has ever gotten back in his exploration of the like old stuff, but I have it ranked as the 6th best season. And I wrote down just kind of like brief notes. I said it's great vibes in 06. It's more myth than content available.
Yeah.
But it's fun to hear it and hear about the implications of it all. And I kind of compare it to like legends of the Negro Leagues, like Josh Gibson. In case anyone who doesn't know who that is, he played in the Negro Leagues back in like early 1900s, mid 1900s, and he was thought to be like the most prodigious power hitter of all time. He's compared to Babe Ruth and stuff, but like not many people know his name and stuff. So that's like how I compare old OCW to.
That's fair.
A lot of myth. It's a lot of like if you have to take it on faith. I understand that some people might not want to do that, but you don't have much more to go off of. And if people are saying this was great, this is great, and I really love this part of it, then you got to put your belief in somebody. And eventually I put my belief in, okay, if people are talking highly about this, it must have been really good. In the small snippets that I can find, 2006 was a really good year.
Yeah, I'd say so. From my recollection of 06, so the funny part about 06 is because 05 was kind of like not, because 05 was like 04 was building and 05 was mishy-mashy. 06 was basically the precursor to what we have now with me, like, because as not to reiterate the bullshit, but that's when 06 is SmackDown versus Raw basically. So when you're saying 06, you mean SmackDown versus Raw 2006, right, or the year?
I have it broken down by years just because it's easier to keep track of that. When you keep track of the different games, like halfway through a year, you might be onto a game in October. So I just went strictly years.
Okay.
So there is a switch over. Every single one of these years probably has a switch over between games and stuff. But,
they're the same date for basically up until I think more or less up until 2K22. It's usually it's usually the releases are usually like sometime October, November. Those were the standard releases. So yeah, you're right, because SmackDown vs. Raw 06 was November 5th, 2005, and then that was basically 2 months, and then immediately the entire year of 06 is SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. So yeah, they're matching. But the point I wanted to make was essentially in the middle part of 05 when we went back to SmackDown vs. Raw. That's when the whole internal mutiny shit was kicking off, and people were trying to work behind my back. And then I basically came in thanks to RD Money and Nate, who I think RD Money is the one who rang me up, and I showed up, and everybody got quiet, and everybody was trying to be, oh no, and then I basically gave everybody facts, like, all right, you're complaining, cool, but why are you complaining? And then he's like, oh, and it's like, oh, you're talking about this opportunity you had, this one where you won, this one where you, like, everybody was put in check, and then After that, I went from being like Jake to being like I am now, and motherfuckers was in check. So that starting with SmackDown 2000 SVR 06 is when basically I had my foot on everybody's ass, and it was just we had mad people, so there was four shows a week, and then all those stupid titles, and then Europeans and Americans, and then the 4-show thing lasted a good while. It lasted maybe, I want to say it lasted a majority of 2006. I can honestly attest to that. It lasted quite a long time because it was four separate general managers. It was Gregory Kale on Riot, David Nova for I think Ambition. I'm not sure which show. Animosity. Okay, good. We had David Lowenstein was, I do believe, in charge of Asylum. And there was another one, and his name is not it's not Vic Vimes, because Vic Vimes came later with Riot. It was somebody else with a V, and I can't remember who it was. It was Kale, Lowenstein, David Nova, and somebody else whose name escapes me at the moment. Either way, then they all had their separate vibes or whatever. Asylum was more crazy or whatever, and ironically enough, Asylum was, I think, the first Asylum show. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it was the first Asylum show with Billy Lowenstein. That's when he had the 2-on-1. I don't remember if it was a cage match or not, but it was a 2-on-1, and it was Nate defending the title against Recon and somebody else who I cannot for the life of me remember who it was. It might have been Big Merc. I cannot remember who the fuck it was at all. It bugs me. He might have been part of the militia, but I'll never fucking know. Either way, just a funny little sidetrack. So just that could have happened back in the day. Imagine B-17 in the fucking steel cage against two people during the CCW run on a random fucking like Turmoil for funsies, I guess. Good times. Yeah, where were we? So you said 06. You said 2006 was imagine that. Imagine the fucking tears that somebody else had to defend. Like, oh no, this is crazy. I imagine you. I could see you like, what's this? Anyway, Drago would be fine though. Drago murdered people.
I'd win.
I mean, you try to win off a spite, trying to summon that when you fought the Baby Click and they broke FBR, and you had to solo the entire team. Epic moments.
Great times. I'd say we're in like 07 by now from what you've talked about, because we got like 05 was kind of hit or miss. 06 things start to get stabilized.
Yep.
And 07 we get into, and here's the context of like 07. I have 07 ranked,
okay,
in my opinion, as the second best season.
Word. Okay, now you got it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's one of the best seasons, in my opinion. And I here's the thing. 07 has some problems. No doubt 07 has some problems here. First and foremost, the forums that we currently have today, you can go back and you can start watching V3, July 27th, 2007. And here was your show lineup during this time. You had OCW Riot. This is just 1 week here. OCW Riot, Tuesday Night Turmoil, CCW Crisis, OCW Animosity, and Asylum.
Oh my
so
God.
you were talking about 4 shows the previous year. You guys outdid yourself, and you have 5 shows per week.
Oh my God. Yep.
And it goes on for quite some time. Like, you had a shit ton of people during this time.
Damn. So I guess the bleed over happened like late 06 to 05. Because in my head, I'm thinking that when the 4-show one we were like popping, I'm thinking that's all like Smack SVR. Because I'm gonna go by the games. I'm thinking it's all SVR 06, but apparently it's SVR 07, and I think that would make more sense. Also because of the fact that the issue we had with 06, while 06 had a lot of great stories. One of the big stories in 06 was Theater of Pain, massive heel faction versus Rev Inc., massive face faction, and there was like I think 4 or 5 each, and basically they were up and down the card, depending, like some people were main eventers, some people were middle carders, fighting each other, and it was always fine. Theater of Pain, if you didn't know, Guy Fausto, Majin, Poison, Mad Michael Morrison, The Steve, Rev Inc., it's Nate Ortiz versus Blade. I do believe Nick Cage also. I forget the fucking, I forget the 5th one, bro. Fuck. I know it was 5. I know Blade was the Danny Watts of like Dominion, but of Revolution Inc. Like Blade came in strong, and then eventually like the gimmick with Blade was they would have him RPs, but every RP he would be on a couch sleeping because that was what he provided to because he just didn't do shit afterwards. So, but he was there, I guess. But he was always taking a nap during the text role plays. But it was Nate versus Nick, Blade, and somebody else, and I can't remember the fifth person, and there might not even be a fifth person. I'll have to get clarification for somebody. But yeah, they held it down in 06, the 06, those big faction wars, because then we had other factions. We had like Fuckface and his friends kind of intervene every now and again, and then there was like many little tiny factions, but a lot of them were garbage. And then 07, we were able to have the Europeans and the Americans able to compete with each other via the Xbox. And then that's when, like you said, then that would actually mean an explosion, because that's when we also had the legendary match between on Justin.tv, Kareem versus fucking RD Money, where it was like the equivalent of what the Europeans call a football match. All the Euros were like fuck RD Money, and all the Americans were like fuck Kareem, and they were fighting. We were streaming live at 640p, and they were fucking fighting. And at the time, Kareem is king shit. RD Money's top of the hill, so it was like a big fight feel, and everybody's arguing with each other. You know, RD gets offense, America starts shitting on Europe. Fucking Kareem gets offense, people start shitting on Kareem. I do remember at one point Kareem was really good at the game. Also, he did something. He did like he pieced up RD Money, or he got him in one of the long, because in those games some moves had long animations, like Cass's longest move in the game. At one point he did something to RD which required a lot of frames. He had time to go into the chat and just pop off mad shit in text in the chat, and then go back to the fucking match, and that everyone was like fuck you, da, da, da. Anyway, great fucking match. RD won in the end with the fucking powerbomb shit, and everybody had a good time, shook hands. It was fucking, fucking phenomenal times. But yes, I think that if you go by that metric, I would probably agree that would be very close to old age, because now people say modern era. But is modern era to you? Let me ask you, like, is that the last 4 years, the last 8 years, the last 2 years? What would you consider that? Let me bring it to Jim instead, because Jim is more newer than you. What would you consider like a modern era?
Production era forward.
So then
I would say.
So then that would be like 2018ish, mostly 2019 to the present.
Adam, I would say that's
what say you?
Modern.
I was gonna say 2020, because production era and the transition into that, the consistency of it all became something that was expected, much more like rigorously expected, right around 2020. Like the transition, there were still some people that had music during their matches. I was one of them. I was a big component of wanting to have music in my matches and stuff. And it wasn't until like 2020 where the consistency of, okay, I need to have this, and this, otherwise it's not going to get used. My match isn't going to get used, or my video promo is not going to get used here. So that's what I think of as like the I don't really know what the name of it should be, but where the full production era officially takes over, I guess.
I think I vibe with that, because that coincides with also probably what you would consider your number one season. But back to 07 as being your second. I would have to see what all the other I guess rankings you have, but I would say 07 would be considered, because I'm trying to think back of when, like, because the only way like I kind of remember how things happen is by trying to piece together little bits and pieces and then like get vibed up or whatever. So I do feel like 07 was the culmination of like all of like the best of the best at the time, and then everybody from Europe and America, and then all these crazy storylines. Continue.
Okay, so put it in perspective of the thing that dominates the storylines for the entire year. Nate Ortiz and Cage, they break off from Rev Inc.
Yeah.
And they eventually turn against each other. And that takes up all of 07. Like that storyline right there is a storyline that they have multiple matches throughout the year. We're talking at Resolution. We're talking matches that people are excited about. If you go back through the forums and you're reading people responding to this, they're excited. Like they are really into this entire feud. They constantly screw each other over as well. And then somehow that's still not even the storyline of the year. Even though I'm going back and I'm reading this, I'm like, wow, people are really excited about this. That's not even the storyline of the year. The storyline of the year was like a tie between Cage and RD Money going against each other, and Cage and Versus going after each other. So you have this situation where the breakup of Rev Inc. and then Nate Ortiz and Cage turning against each other for the OCW title, because that's kind of the main motivation for it, dominates the entire year, and people are into it and they love it. So my random notes I had about it is that it had like high levels of excitement, great feuds. Like, we're listing multiple feuds that people were engaged with, we're talking about. We have the merging of some titles between, you know, the Europeans and the people from the US servers, like, coming together. And then, like, I put down Nate versus Cage had been hot as fuck. So that's just reading it. It's really hard to express how much enjoyment I got from reading the forums and seeing how excited people were about other people's content. And
good, sorry, continue.
If you remember in the draft that, you know, we did, that was the uncalled for, I drafted Cage.
Because you were working on that. Yeah.
Because I was right in the middle of this, and I'm like, Nick Cage is going to be my draft pick, because reading their matches and reading their interactions and reading about how the matches went with like the screw jobs and screwing each other over in other matches or in backstage segments, all for the OCW title, really was one of the best feuds that I've ever read.
So let me ask you this: the Cage RD feud, that was the ex-president's feud or no?
It wasn't referred to as the ex-president's feud, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh, well, was like, Geomon in the picture in some capacity, even as a side character?
He would pop up, but infrequently, and I kind of got the sense that it was something to do with the ex-presidents, but I couldn't tell if the ex-president thing had happened farther back in time, and then this is kind of a continuation of that story, or if this was something that had happened and was continuing through, because you got to remember the forums only go so far back.
Jay, give us the lore dump on the ex-presidents.
Well, I did before, but I'll just give it I think I've always done in the post show things that we just fucking sit there and talk like old men. So ex-presidents was, again, like Adam mentioned, how people were generally excited for other stuff. So the personalities involved, and then to give you context, Jake makes fun of RD Money now, but for a brief moment in time, RD Money was the guy. For a brief moment, maybe a year and a half, maybe two, he was the fucking guy. Bee's knees. Him and Nate also had like tremendous feuds or whatever. Anyway, time aside, people have personalities, and those personalities bleed through. So certain people don't like fuck with each other, which is the case even today now. So Geomon was a very polarizing individual. He makes Paul Pugh look like the Tooth Fairy, if you will. The lore behind that is when Paul Pugh was a rookie, Geomon, I think Pugh missed the match, or he submitted something late. He did something very minor, and Geomon was vehement with banning him for life over that. And I was like, you got to relax, buddy. So that's that kind of guy. So he was not very well liked by a majority of people. He was a hard ass. I kind of I didn't hate him, but you know, motherfucker's a hard ass. I'm trying to remember what his position was. I don't know if it was a staff position. I don't remember. Either way, it doesn't matter. So him and Cage didn't vibe at all, like ever. Like they was not cool. So anyway, RD Money had just successfully defended his championship. I do believe it was OCW, but I could be wrong. Again, some of this is mythology or lore at this point. And during his celebration, he was assaulted. So what had happened leading up to it, that if I'm not mistaken, that a couple of times RD Money was like jumped by like one person or another person that was masked. So eventually, after his match, the idea was like, oh, the person he's competing against, they were doing it, but it wasn't that person. Anyway, so after RD is he's celebrating, he gets attacked by the people in the mask again, and then it's two people this time. Bang, bang, they're beating him up. So they did the thing where they go on the ramp. Not the ramp, on the ropes, and they had a thing where Taz would pull whatever. They edited it really good. So like this is like a Jake level edit or Emp level edit where they took the animations and they two entrances and they swapped it and it was seamless. So they took off the presidential mask. One was I believe one was Bill Clinton, the other one was Richard Nixon. I know that, like, I feel like those were the ones because I remember it reminded me of the Dead Presidents thing. Was it Dead Presidents? Whatever the fuck, where they were robbing with the president mask. Maybe Point Break. Doesn't matter. Either way. So the I think it was Clinton pulled off the mask and it was Nick Cage. It was like, oh shit, what the fuck? And then Nixon pulled off the mask and it was Geomon, and everybody was like, what? Like, to put it into context, pick any names. We're not going to say names here, but pick any names of two people who will not fuck with each other at all in OCW, and then imagine them working together. So that's part of the reason everybody was super excited, because it's like, these two guys, we know from experiences on the Shoutbox or in the forums that these two do not agree with each other. These two don't even like each other, but they are working together literally to fuck on RD Money. So that was the thing, and that's probably why Geomon was more of a side character with that. But like, that was stuff that you used to see back in the day, because people would put aside shit and be like, hey, let's tell a good story. A novel concept, right? I know, but yeah. So that was a hot story back in the day when RD was actually relevant for that minimal amount of time. Did that suffice answer your question, Jim?
It sure did.
Fantastic. Adam, moving on.
Well, to add on to 07, I'll do this really quickly. There's a few minor details that need to be talked about. Like, the tag title starts to become defended more frequently. 06, very infrequently, barely existed. Was prop. In 08, it kind of falls into that category, and then at later dates it does too. But in 2007, you got Sean Strider and Ed Reed. I believe they were called the Best Damn Tag Team, period. Right? And they were often fighting against a team called Team Underdog. And I don't know who that is.
I believe it's CJ Hoppus, and it could either be the Air, or I know it's European. I know the one Underdog was always CJ Hoppus' moniker, and that the good thing about CJ Hoppus is he was a Euro, but like in his, like, he came from EWA when we had the EWA merger. And this is a quick side story. This is what I remember vividly. So CJ Hoppus, basically EWA was basically killers. They had the European style, which people had to adapt in the US, where they would basically hit you and then spin behind you and fuck your whole back up. So it took a while to get them to be less thirsty or cheesy or whatever you want to call it with the American players. But even back then, it was still pretty sus. If you watch those matches, they're pretty sus. Anyway, so the European players as a whole, or a lot of them, were better than the US players. So Kareem was a beast. Lochi was a beast. Vega was a fucking beast. Leon Hart was there too, as like a young lion. Leon Hart, he was a beast. I do believe Jackhammer came there, and I'm not sure if Jackhammer became Braddock or whatever. I'm not 100% sure. There's some like float over there, and I think Braddock came from over there, but I'm not 100% sure. Chris Ryder, maybe not. Those ones are kind of fuzzy, but I do vividly remember the Air and CJ Hoppus as like the lower card guys. Like, they would be able to hang a little bit, but they were nowhere near the levels of like Vega, Kareem, Lochi in them. So, and Leon. So CJ's thing was, if you want to compare it to a modern day example, was like a fucking 2020 Chris Green. Like, you wanted them to win and they will come close, but they could never seal the deal. So he was always called the perennial underdog, and that was the gimmick. And he was a good guy. He had a good look too, good music. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. But if I hear it, I'll know it was his music. And I do remember Air's music. It was "I am the sun, I am the air," whatever. Doesn't matter. Weird side quest. Sorry, I get acoustic when I talk about history. It gets me excited. Good. So yeah, so I do know it was CJ Hoppus and it was somebody else, and it has to have been. It's somewhere. It's either the Air, Iceberg, or Braddock as like a lower character, or Chris Ryder. It has to be one of those three. So we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, they were feuding with those guys, Team Underdog.
Yeah, it went back and forth for a while. That was kind of the thing that took over most of the tag division for that time. I could go to and look at the OCW title, but I'm going to talk about that more with a different year.
Sure.
The big thing that needs to be pointed out in 07 is at the end of 07, Parker Stevens wins the hardcore title. And he's going to lose it in 2008, but this is the 19 defenses. This is
it's 19? Oh, okay.
2007, this is when he goes on that record-breaking 19 hardcore titles, and he is defending every week.
Yeah.
Like, one show out of the week. He is defending every single week, and he's dominant. He's winning. He's winning with ease. People in the forums are typing like, I don't think anyone's ever gonna beat him. He's defending in multi-man matches, like fatal 4-way matches and shit, and he's not losing. He just refuses to lose, and then this kind of transitions us into 08. He gets into 08. He loses to Vincent Valmont.
Yeah.
At Lucian, and no, sorry, excuse me. He vacates. He didn't even lose the title. He vacates.
So do you
after beating Valmont at Lucian 3?
So do you? Here's the side story on that. I remember that conversation vividly, and to this day, it fucking grates my cheese. He says, he's like, I'm gonna do his voice. No one's gonna beat me. I don't know what to do. It sounds like Leon Hart, but in my head they sound alike. So fuck you. He's like, oh, you're gonna beat me. He's like, if I win, I'm gonna vacate. I'm like, no. He's like, oh, no, I have no nothing to fucking do. I'm like, well, lose. He's like, no. If he can fucking beat me, he can take it. But he's a pussy and he can't. So it's like, I'm like, whatever. If you win, fine. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you, whatever. I don't give I was upset because, I mean, it happened with CQC too, where they vacated, but they had to do world titles and shit like that because there was like no double title type shit, which is funny because there was no double title type shit for Parker, but there's a point where like somebody is hardcore and something else champion a couple years later, I think. I don't know. Either way. So yeah, I remember the match because this is where they had the hardcore like stuff you could do, like the featuring ECW. So like he hit Valmont on the outside, and then someone gave him popcorn. He's fucking smashed his face in it. Like he was fucking ragdolling Valmont. It was basically an ass whipping. He stuck the candlestick up his ass and turned into a popsicle. Anyway, so he won, and he put the title in the center of the ring and left. And I was like, ugh. All right, you can take over.
Parker Stevens is going to show up again. I'm sorry for those of you who don't want him to appear again. But he's going to appear again. You're going to hear his name again before this is done. This hardcore title reign will be referenced again in the future. But that kind of gets us into 08.
Uh-huh.
So, 07, I think is peak. Like, if we did a tier ranking system, like, this is S tier. This is up there with the S tier.
Okay.
Of the best and stuff. 2008 is not so good.
It's 8. I know 8 and 9 are not great, but go ahead, take us through.
Oh no, I don't even want to talk about. I don't want to talk about 09 yet. I'll mention where I have it ranked in just a little bit.
Okay,
but I'm gonna say this: 2008 is one of the 3 worst seasons in OCW history. I currently have it ranked as the second lowest, and we'll get to it in a little bit here. For my notes, I have written down Sensation goes full Vince McMahon.
No word. Did I kill my company in 08?
It's bad. 08 is fucking terrible. I hated reading 08. I took a break reading 08. I contacted reading 08.
So what you would say is 2008 was oppressive. Continue.
2008 was fucking terrible.
Oh my god, go ahead. Take us through it.
This is where we can talk about, like, in 08. Let me pull this up here. Actually, let me see if you remember. In 08, do you remember how many screw jobs you committed to?
Okay, so what I can remember in 08, if I'm trying to put myself back there, I think 08 was. Do you remember if 08 is when Nate fucking crippled me or not?
I don't think he cripples you in 08.
Okay, that might be 2010 then. I gotta check. Maybe. So 08. So what I can remember in 08 is I do believe I got a capture card at that point. So I was very excited to capture, or maybe I got an updated capture card. So I was very excited to participate in OCW in various capacities. I think wasn't I champion in 08?
Jason Sensation is champion in 08.
November, right?
I'm not gonna jump to it because.
Okay, all right, you don't have to jump to it. So what I can
tell me about your screw jobs.
What I can remember in 08 is a lot of people. I'm gonna be real with you. While I was excited in 08, I was excited to be a part of, like, if anyone had stuff to do, I would either volunteer, like, hey, do you need me or whatever, but people would ask if they could use me and stuff, and I was like all for it. for better or for worse. I think '08 was notorious with Parker and maybe Trance. It could be actually in ahead, maybe even in 2010, because Trance was basically quiet back then. That like, oh, it's not a main event thing unless fucking Jay's involved as a like a dig, because I was always involved in main event stuff or whatever. But I do feel '08 would be one of the times where, and you asked to bring it back about screw jobs. I'm going to say if it's 2008, I've stopped watching for the most part WWE. I do think, because I think at this point I got tired of WWE at the time to watch it. I know that. And I think I may have just embraced the whole authority figure a bit too much, I suppose. I'll go with that. So if you're asking me for a number of screw jobs, I would probably say, if we give it an entire year on screw jobs, thinking back then, how was I think I still had a little bit of hair left. I'm gonna say there was probably 10 plus like screw jobs, and I think after maybe the third one, it was like, oh, because someone gonna get screwed. So you may feel free to interject now, because I feel the back of my neck's sweaty because I feel problems are approaching.
Okay, so AJ Phoenix, not really a name I'm too familiar with. I've heard the name before. But
inspired Tiberius Dupree.
Okay, so you screwed him January 10th, 2008. Like, right away, this beginning of the year, you helped Blake Majin defeat AJ Phoenix. Oh. I never found out why, so this is a great time for you to tell me why exactly you screwed up.
Okay,
screwed out AJ.
So let me ask you this. Are there any references to AJ Phoenix after the fact in 2008?
In the title history project, no, but his name comes up in the forums. I don't recall seeing him booked at all.
So that might have been as a way to like solidify his write-off.
Okay.
Because while I was, very much into people's whatever, I'm still like more or less how I am now. Like, if like, all right, like if you're gonna you're gonna take off, or whether win or lose, you're gonna leave or whatever. Let me do this so we can just add some spice. All right, no problem. So I think that's what that would be for AJ, but continue.
Okay. Anyways, so then the title goes to Blake Majin, and a lot of really confusing things happen. And
yeah.
This is where Nate was like chasing me down, like, hey, I have another title reign in there. I'm like, okay, tell me when it is. So Nate Ortiz fights Majin in an Apocalypse match. It's not the first Apocalypse match.
No.
But Nate Ortiz actually wins that match. So he beats Blake Majin, and then somebody, and I'm pretty sure this is you, that comes out and says, well, actually, that wasn't for the title, so ha 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 ha. So Nate Ortiz wins the Apocalypse match, but does not win the title.
Wait, was that a pay-per-view? Or like a random Riot?
No. That was a pay-per-view. Nate was after me not too long ago in chat about it. So yeah, no, you.
What pay-per-view was it? Do you know? You have to have it.
All right, yeah, I'll have it. I'll
yeah, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up on the thing. We should be able to put it up on the site as well. If you can just.
I feel like it's the freaking Clash or something like that.
All right, let's see. 2008. 2008. We have Chill Factor, Black Sunday, Devil's Night, September to Remember, Summerside, King of OCW, Consequence, Damnation, and End Games. Oh, and also, we do have a Clash in 2008 February. Let's check that. Holy shit! So you said it was Apocalypse match? Yeah, Nate Ortiz versus Supernaut Blake Majin, OCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Is it the Clash?
Yeah, it's the Clash. It's February. Yeah, Clash February 2008.
Okay, so this one threw me for a loop because
this is the one where Nate has the thing. He's holding two titles.
Yeah. This was recently discussed, and it came up, and I'm like, no, you weren't the champion coming out of it. And he's like, no, Adam, I won this match. Go back and check. I go back and I check. He actually wins the match. I'm like, well, what the fuck happened here? So I was going through the forums, and I found people like reviewing the show and telling me somebody comes out after the match and then declares that this match wasn't for the title. So you won, but you didn't win.
Was it for me? Was it me that it came out?
Was it? Like, someone referenced Paul Heyman, and I thought they were like just making a comparison of you being similar to Paul Heyman.
Well, I'll tell you one. I think I'm gonna be real with you, and I think I got a year confused in a sense, because if it's Paul Heyman, like if we're saying Paul Heyman, There's a video that I sent Jim about somebody that like I get pile drived on a table and I was super skinny and I had the Paul Heyman look because I had the trench coat and the fucking the ponytail and everything and a New York Yankee hat. But the reason was because I didn't have '08 for a chunk of '08. I had I had a nice lady buy it for me, but because I didn't want to buy it for some reason. You know what it was? Because 07 was good, '08 wasn't as good as '07, so I was pissy. So I'm like, I don't compete, I'm not buying it. So I had a capture card, but I didn't buy it till later. So in the meantime, they made me, and I was like, they would record what needed to be recorded, but if anything needed to be written, I would write it. Or like if they needed a video with my guy, they would give me the parts and I would fill that in. So if they say Paul Heyman, that might have just been me with the Heyman like get up or whatever. So I don't know. I'm looking at the match right now too. I can actually pull it up on it's all 3 matches. I can actually pull it up on the hosting, not the hosting, but the archives that I have. It will take me some time, but like I wonder if the video has. I gotta check if the video has we can go back to that like off this show, but I wonder if the video has like the last video, if it has me coming on. I'm gonna go check. So it had to have been me, but I'm trying to figure out like why specifically.
I don't know.
Yeah, and no one's actually breaking it down either.
This was recently brought up, and I went back. I found it just because I was trying to complete something.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I was going to be talking to you soon enough, so I'm like, I'm just going to wait for Jay, and I'll ask him, like, hey, well, what's the deal with this? I was hoping you would give me more clarity on it.
And what regarding this match?
Regarding why you would come out and be like, hey,
it had to have been something of like a screw job, but I'm trying to like, am I feuding with Nate at this point?
I count it as a screw job. Oh yeah, you are definitely feuding with the Nate.
So it's probably like a way to say fuck you, nerd. And there is
definitely tension here at this point.
And I'm thinking in my head, the idea is like, this will get me heat, brother. It has to be, brother. It has to be. Holy shit! The class. So you said it's the yeah. I'm trying to pull it up now on the archives. It's deep. It's deep in there. I don't.
Yeah, it's like page 178 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't fucking. I know. I have the backup somewhere. I'm trying to pull up the actual because I want to pull up the actual match, so I can see because that it was so big that it was 3 separate videos for 3 separate matches. So it's Clash. Come on, bro. I think it was the Clash. So was it the Clash 2008?
Yeah, 2008.
Feb 2008. Okay, I have it here. I had such a weird name. Me and that name our files the same way, just fucked up. Okay, hype. I have Clash ME 1, 2, and 3. So I'm gonna pull up 3 right now. 59 megs, by the way. I'll probably drop it in the exciting chat. 1 second. Restore now. That is crazy. So depending on what the fact that you remember this is crazy. What was it called? This is banana. All right, I have it here. I'm gonna drop it here for you guys just in case for you want it for reference. I'm gonna run it real quick. It's probably gonna pick up the audio, so I'm gonna mute it. Yep. Okay, that's Nate. That's Majin. Okay, here. We got the role play right now. He's the champion. You're probably gonna hear the music's playing, the thing. You're probably gonna hear the music on the recording. So fuck you. Enjoy the music. All right, I need to see what's happening. He beat Majin in the steel cage. We got JR and Jim Ross talking. Nate's nice look, by the way. He got the face paint. It's like the mix of the man they call Nate and Thing. Nice get up too. How come he doesn't have the get up anymore? Come on, where's the RP? So he has the title right now. He's celebrating. Now we cut. And Paul Heyman, the steel cage begins to raise. Oh God, this music playing. Who is this? Is this me? Oh my God, it's me! It's me! Yeah, it's me! It is! There goes the neighborhood. Jay starts at the top of the stage. This is real time, like the start now. First off, let me pause it. First off, I'd like to congratulate you on a hard-fought victory, my son. But I have a tiny, whiny bit of bad news for you. You see, this match was not for the OCW Heavyweight Championship. All right. Why would I do this? So I said it's not for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now I'm waiting to see the next frame on this thing. The crowd boos. Yo, this is taking a little too long. Come on, hurry up. I said this is not my doing. This is your own fault, Nathaniel. Roll the tape. All right. So apparently Nate did something, and I guess we're going to find out on the tape. How very exciting. There's a video playing. Mind you, this is the fucking text/video RP. I said, fuck your title shot. You've made it. I said, fuck your title shot. We'll bleep your title shot. You have made it more than that. I do want a match at the Clash. Okay, so basically we're quoting Nate that Nate said, fuck your title shot to Majid. I want a match at the Clash. And I think I'm going on the technicality that he said, fuck your title match. Oh, no. Not for the belt, but to finish this thing with your handpicked champion. Oh, no. Best 2 out of 3 falls. 1 match catering to my style, 1 match catering to his, and the 3rd match in the cage if needed. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Where you and your alliance can't get involved. Sensational Alliance, I guess. It was Vic Vimes throwing you a bone that made that match, this match, a title match. But I ain't having it. So Vic Vimes made a title match, and apparently I said no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Isn't it funny how history repeats itself?
Oh, no! No! Remember, son, the boys in the back and everyone within the sound of my voice. This is my world, and you're just paying rent. Oh, no!
I'm so happy you said that, Jim, because this moment that we're sharing right now, it really does feel like
son, it's time to pay up.
Repeating itself.
Okay, so I said it's time to pay up, and someone comes in and hits Nate with the chair. Oh my God, someone lays Nate out with a chair when the cage raises, and he's wearing a mask. Who the fuck is it? He's wearing like Nate's getup, but he has a mask. So now it's Majin. The guy just speared Nate. Me and the guy who speared Nate. Oh, who is this guy? Is it Guy? Who the fuck is the guy in the mask? We have to. Who's the guy in the mask, bro?
Oh, does it tell you who the guy in the mask is?
I'm watching the video right now. There's somebody in it, like he's dressed up like Nate.
I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait to see if the video shows.
I don't know if it's gonna show. I think back then we were like show don't tell, so the guy gets revealed the next show. And I don't know who the fuck that is. Oh my God! Please tell me we're not gonna find out, are we? We're on a cliffhanger, this bitch. Yeah, Nate's been laid out by the guy and the guy who's dressed up like the man they call Nate, Blake, Majin, and myself. Yep. Nope. We don't find out who the fuck it is. Ain't this a bitch? It had to have been. I don't know who it could have been. I think the reveal is who the fuck is the guy, and we find out. Fuck. So,
I'll give you 2. I'll give you 2 guesses. It's either Guy Fausto
or Leonhardt or Smite.
No, or Smite.
I gotta be Guy Fausto. Mr.
I hope it's Guy Fausto.
Mr. Chocolate is not over like that. Who was? Do you know who it is?
It's Guy Fausto.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Right. And that was a big reveal because back then we didn't just give everything away on pay per view. Waited for TV to make, you know. Yeah, so yeah, I feel like it was Guy Fausto. I feel like that would be his MO. So does Blake come out with the title on that show?
All right, so the next show, Blake comes out with the title.
Ooh.
It's all just been like completely. It doesn't count. There's no title reign. I'm sorry, Nate Ortiz. I'm not awarding you a title reign here. You do not have it. That is not number 10. You're gonna have to continue to.
Oh my God, bro!
Elsewhere. But we're only.
Could you imagine the tears if I did that in 2025? No.
All right. Here's the craziest thing, though. People loved it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Nate didn't give a fuck. He didn't care.
The response in the forums, like, this was awesome. I loved it. It was great. It was amazing. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, that's a fucking story, Hoot. Holy shit, yeah.
So we're starting off. We're at 2. Okay.
So can I give you some context about that too? I think like.
Yeah, but I really want to get.
All right, go for it. Yeah, go. Keep going. I'm sorry. Keep going. I get excited because you're giving me reminding me of all this crazy shit. Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, Guy Fausto goes on to defeat Blake Majin.
Yeah.
At Lucian 3.
Sounds about right with Guy. Yeah, he's a lot of guy.
Smythe goes on to defeat Guy at Damnation.
That's crazy. Holy shit. Okay.
Right. not too long after that, eventually we get to the unification title fight where the CCW and the OCW are merged. June 28th, 2008. At Consequence 2008, Nate Ortiz defeats Guy Fausto. Guy Fausto eventually gets the title back. Nate Ortiz eventually goes on to merge the titles. The start of 2008 was really good. This is where it starts to go downhill. It really starts to descend into complete and utter madness. Leon goes on to win the title from Nate Ortiz and Guy Fausto. Leon cashes in the FI. It is heavily implied that you helped. I can't find direct evidence of it, but it's heavily implied that you helped Leon win this match.
Okay. So essentially, we're very comp at this point. So I think they probably like just did a thing where like we do now, where I showed up and fucked somebody over, and then that helped Leon win. But I'll leave it at that. So somebody got screwed and Leon won. Probably Nate got screwed.
Okay. Nate is actually the first eliminated in the match.
Yeah.
And I think that's the screw job. Like, you interfere and Nate gets eliminated.
Yeah.
And then you turn on Leon 2 months later and you win the OCW title for yourself after you insert yourself into the match.
Into what? Which match?
You fight on August 25th, 2008 at Devil's Night. You fight Leon for the OCW championship.
In August?
You help. And no, Leon wins in August. In October, you fight Leon. You insert yourself into a match and you fight Leon.
Yeah, that I remember, because I remember doing like that being pitched to me. I was like, this is an awful idea. No, it'll be great. I'm like, this is not a good idea, brother. No, it'll be fine. And then like I was like, okay. So then I think Versus like either Versus knew or he got wind of it. So he's like, dude, we should do like a training, because you're not really a fighter anymore. Because like the sensational backstory is that a quick sidebar. So on the old site, it was there. I don't know if it's on the new site or even on any of the FAQ stuff we used to do back in the day. So the JCS origin story was that he was he was like a wrestler, and he worked for NEW in Japan for many, many years. But then he got fucked up by some Great Muta wannabe or some shit, so his knees got all fucked up. So he was able to transition to becoming a manager. He was able to use that to make like X amount of money, and then X amount of money came back. But he was able to make start a small shop, OCW, back in New York, and then blah 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 blah. So that was the thing. So I had a few matches, every now and again, and I usually won because I'm fucking good ish. So I think that they were like, oh, you should do this, and I was like, whatever. So then Versus was like, yo, since the thing is that you're not a fighter, I should train you. And then we had like weeks of stupid skits where we would use movies and we would superimpose like me on the thing, and just it was dumb. It was super dumb, but it was super fun. It was just stupid shit. So I trained to fight Leon, and then I won. I don't remember how I won, but I know I was like, boy, oh boy, this is very embarrassing for you, Leon. This is very embarrassing. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna win, but fuck it, and I won. So do you have how I won? Did I screw him? Like, did I cheat or some shit? Like,
no, I don't have anything marked for that. I think you won straight up. Otherwise, I probably would have marked it.
Good for me. Still got the juice.
This storyline, like,
it is bananas.
John and Nate are jumping back and forth with your allegiances, and then you actually lose it to Nate Ortiz. You try to put Leon in the match in your place. Like
as my thing, yeah.
Like, I don't know why Leon would agree to this, but you go to the match and then you say, I'm not fighting, Leon's fighting for me. So Leon stands in an attempted screw job of Nate Ortiz, and Nate Ortiz wins it, and then you kind of exit the story after that. Like, I don't know.
Well, you know why? Because it's like I don't know. Like, so that's probably why I didn't want to even fucking do another rematch. Wow, people should take note. That's how you fucking weasel out of a match. I was like, you can fight for me, brother, and then he couldn't win. Because if you would have won, I'd be like, I'm still the champion. But yeah, no, it's dumb shit. Like a real fucking it's like dumb sports entertainment shit. And I was like, I didn't want to do it, but they were like, please. I'm like, fine. But yeah.
It's very convoluted.
Yeah, very convoluted is a kind way to put it. Fucking Drek is how I would put it.
And then by the end of 2008, Leon wins the title. He goes on to defend it 7 times.
Yeah, monster run.
Like, he had a really good run, and that was absent of you, and like Nate kind of exited out of the scene.
Yeah.
as well. So Leon takes over, and so what are we at, like 4 or 5 screw jobs, and that's just the OCW championship. There's other ones. The only one I'm going to point out though is the hardcore title. Parker Stevens reappears in 2008, and he, like, I don't know what happened. The hardcore title went through like this phase of it gets vacated, and then Eddie Mace wins it, and Colt Starr wins it. Kip Conrad, Colt Starr, Valmont, Knox, and nobody can hold on to it.
Yeah.
So Parker Stevens reappears, and he wins it. And he goes on a 12% run.
Oh my god. So he went up to 12, yeah.
Yeah, and then the entire story around that eventually becomes you telling him, if you lose the title before you break your old reign of 19, you will be fired.
And you know why that happened? Because he vacated the belt at Lucian 3, and I was still sore about it. Because the story, well, the logic behind it was internally, I was like, he's like, oh, I want to fight. It's like, fuck you. He's like, and he's like, oh, dude, it's fine. And he goes, oh, how about this? I was like, how about this? If you don't, whatever, I'm firing you. He's like, oh, good. So then, like, that would lead to the old outsider coming back in angle or some shit where he becomes like whatever later on. But continue.
I mean, that's, those are kind of the highlights of it all.
Yeah.
This is also why 2008 is really bad. You have some more titles get merged, like the OCW title gets, like I said, it's convoluted. The North American, not North American yet. The international title starts to become a thing where Adrian Bold and King James and Steve Aries makes an appearance. But during all of this time that this is ongoing and stuff, there is a lot of infighting on the forums and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of matches that aren't getting done, and there's shows that are getting canceled during this time.
Oh wow.
And you have multiple rants that I had the pleasure of reading, and you have a couple of desks where you just go off. And
you can paraphrase. Were you able to hear the desk? No. No,
I was able to read reviews and stuff, but I wasn't able to hear them.
Okay, yeah.
So while all this is ongoing, there's people leaving. There's alts everywhere taking up spots and stuff because the roster has become significantly diminished. The shows, there's multiple shows that are getting canceled. It's the reviews are non-existent. Like late 2008, like the start of 2008 is really fun and stuff. But then by the end of 2008, it is a slog to get through it. You have 3-match shows max. There's 1-page riots on occasion. So by the end of 2008, and I talked to Nate about this, I'm like, hey, what's happening here? And he's like, well, we were forced to merge quite a few titles and stuff because there just wasn't enough people anymore. And a lot of people were just unhappy. And I don't know if that was because of the game or not. But
a large part of it was the like 07 was really good. Like 07 was a like technical wise, it had more creative limitations than 06, but it had more like technical wise, it was solid. So it was basically 06 with better graphics, ran better, better connections, and more players. But then 08, they started like doing their THQ started doing fuck shit. So it was a lot of like it was a downgrade from 07. So it was kind of like not as many people picked it up as they did 07 and 06, because less people picked up 07, but plenty of people picked up 07 versus like 06. So 06, mad people picked it up. 07, a lot of people picked it up. 08, most people picked it up.
Yeah. So 08 is a bad year. The tag division is probably the one that you can see the worst of it all. The Bloodline has the title for a majority of the year, but there's multiple title defenses that don't happen, even though they're scheduled to happen. Like they're advertised on the show, but they never show up. So they have 4 defenses, and they hold it for a majority of the year. And there's multiple occasions of it just disappears. And that happened with a couple of different things. And maybe this kind of puts it all into perspective. This is the main event of the 2008 Lucian. It's RD Money versus Seth Irving versus Chris Mania versus. When you look in comparison to the years before that, where you have Nate Ortiz versus and Nick Cage versus RD Money, it's like you can kind of tell that things weren't really clicking and that certain people weren't around anymore. And then, yeah, it becomes really unenjoyable. Like, reading it was not fun. Every single forum discussion turns into an argument. It was not a good year. 2008 was pretty miserable all around. Storyline in the world title goes on way too long. You have 4 screw jobs alone in the OCW division, OCW title division. 2008 collapses. It starts off really strong, but by the end of it, it is one of the worst years in OCW history.
I want to say that it collapsing was not my fault. Hopefully, I don't think it is. Cause at least my shit was interesting. Hopefully, was my shit interesting? Yeah, it was.
Are you Gene Snitsky in the situation?
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to figure. Yeah, I'm trying to figure if I killed 08. I know. I know. Like 09 was very much my fault, but 08, I don't want to take credit for 08.
So I think 08 suffers from, it starts off really fun and the 07 run is still fresh in everybody's mind and stuff.
And then reality kicks in.
A lot of people dip.
Yeah.
Or people are busy with life and nobody really fills in those gaps. And then in the process of filling in those gaps, your power trip, which, regardless if it was intentional or not, becomes more of a slog to read by the end of it all. And very confusing. Yours. By the end, the OCW title run becomes hard to measure. And by the end of it, people are unhappy with everybody. Like, everybody's being pissy with each other. Everybody's fighting with each other. Similar to today. And it kind of all collapses onto itself. And it leads into the absolute fucking worst year in OCW history. 2009. Which I'm not too. Well, I'm to it, but I'm not ready to talk about it.
All right. So you want to? Okay, you don't have to skip. So all right. So we can skip 9, I guess, because I think 9 deserves its own fucking podcast. To be honest with you. All right.
Fritz's champion. That's like that right there. Like if you ever go back into the forums and stuff, and you're reading 09 and you're like, who the fuck is the champion here? The reason why you never know who the champion is because the person who's holding onto the belt is not fucking writing, is not doing anything, and just shows up on occasion. And when he does show up, he usually has nothing to do but bitch and whine and moan about somebody else, and he fights with everybody. So 2009, Vincent Valmont is a champion. Trevor McManus is a champion. Vincent Valmont's a champion. Leon is a champion again. Chris Ryder is a champion. 2009 is absolutely fucking terrible, and nobody should ever have to go back into it. I'm doing you all a favor by telling you that 2009 is the absolute dog shit worst of OCW, and it is all directly because 2008 ended on such a fucking sour note that everybody left.
Oh my god, I love it. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do an 09 episode because that feel like that's a dark side of the OCW. All right, so if we're gonna skip 09. Do you have anything to add about like because I guess you were doing you said that 6 is like 2006 is like rank number 5 or 6, and you said 7 is number 2. So what would be I guess what's like 3 and 4 and 1 maybe, or let's I guess not go through all of them, but like which would you say you want to talk about the best one too or not, or you want to just keep going through the Drek building up?
We'll get to it eventually. This list might change because, like, let's be honest, I've gotten through 07, 06 is ranked obviously, 08, 09 I already know where it's going to be ranked. 09 is ranked the worst. But what I'm saying by 09, like, I haven't started putting in the full database, watching all the shows and checking everything. I paused because if I kept going, I was going to end up, okay, well, let's talk about 09, and 09 is just, it's just miserable.
I really,
it's a shit show.
That's all right. So the next time we reconvene or whatever, and it's sometime in the future, we'll dedicate an entire episode to 2009. Just because I have a lot of context to add to it, and you're gonna have more information to go by, and it'll be a nice deep dive.
But if you want to know what the the top 5 is right now, or like is that what you want?
Well, I kind of like, I like how we kind of break down each. We're not gonna have time to do all of them, but I kind of want to like at least get because we have the old stuff and people hate old stuff. So maybe what would be, I guess, number 1 for you is what? Oh, number 1. What do you have ranked in your thing as number 1?
Number 1 is 2020. It's the most consistent season I've been part of, or I've seen. The production era is in full swing.
Mm-hmm.
You got
is that
really
season
good
16?
champions.
Is that season?
I don't really measure by like seasons per se. I guess
I think it might be, but go ahead.
H2O is a champion leading into 2020, and then Rust and Quartz and H2O, they're all going back and forth with each other in the OCW division. So the OCW title is really, really, really good at that time. The CCW title, that's the Cassidy Hayes and Quartz and Cass going back and forth with Rex kind of intermingled in it. And then midway through the year, that's when I start my long run, where I win the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So like the world titles are in really good spots in 2020. Let's see what else do I recall. 2020. This is Al Parka's
international run, right?
International run, which was really enjoyable. And Thomas Archer's around at that time, and I think I've made it very clear I'm a huge Thomas Archer fan. There's like fresh blood that are coming into the scene. This is when Jest is coming into the scene, and I'm pretty sure Max Edwards is around at this time, and Colin Locke. So there's a lot of general excitement about them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ashley Moore and Valkyrie in the women's division, fighting for that. That was some amazing stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, so every single one of these, and I know there's so much more to talk about here. This is the Lucha Country thing after CQC vacates as well. So 2020, hands down, is my favorite season of all time. Is by far the highest ranked one. So like I don't even have enough room for my notes. I say most consistent season I've been part of, but the reality is like all the divisions are really, really good. All the storylines are really, really good. Like this is full production era, full dedicated time, great characters. Yeah, it was awesome. So 2020 and 2007, those are my top 2.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to reveal my third one because it's going to come up pretty quickly again. But if you want me to, I can say it.
What do you say, Jim?
Just give it up.
2013 would be the third best year.
2013. Oh, we got to talk about that one then. I'm not that one. Now I'm very curious because that was. I feel like. Go ahead, go for it.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm not too prepared to talk
about it.
All right. Look, we can pencil back on it.
Cliffhanger this thing. Make the people come back for it.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, this might change, right? Because I'm not to 2013 yet. Here's the top 6 because I can say safely that they're going to be in some sort of arrangement like this. Mm-hmm. Here it's 2020, 2007, 2013. Might get switched with 2012, 2024, and then 2006. That's my top 6 right now. And like
24, like I think 24 is definitely 20. I would say I agree with 20. Yeah, I think I think these are accurate assessments.
Some of them that you're gonna see in the middle, 2011, 2017, 2016, they're all gonna be kind of ranked somewhere in the middle. But obviously, there's I don't know where I'm gonna put 2023 on this list. I don't know where I'm gonna put 22 on this list.
Yeah, but
so there's a lot to fill in here.
But I would agree that I would say 2020, which I would be season 15 if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken, would be a pretty good barometer. 2024, I would say also. So yeah, it's nice. So I guess would you say that like in the latter years of OCW, there's more better seasons than the former of OCW?
there's more consistency.
Yeah.
I imagine many of these, if I think from 2020 to 2025, most of those seasons are going to be in the top half because it's been a very consistent content rise. Like, there's not shows getting canceled.
Yeah.
There's not people dipping halfway through. So just from consistency wise, I would say that that's true.
Yeah.
The early seasons, the development, but also the general excitement of 06 and 07 definitely propelled it really far ahead and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's the slog years. I know that where we currently are in terms of like OCW, there's a lot of people who are very contrarian and they want to argue about things, and they're not very team oriented. They're very about like, you know, I'm watching this and this is what I'm going to comment on and this is what I like, and I'm going to disregard those other things over there, and I hate that. That's not the way it's supposed to be and stuff. And by doing this, I get so much more context as to what is good and what is enjoyable and why you should be watching other people's stuff and why you should appreciate their stuff for what it is. Because like 2008 and 2009 were terrible, guys. Like, like Jay was screaming at people every other week. He's screaming at people. There's people on there who are dropping just the most profane bullshit. This is probably why OCWFED was blocked for the longest fucking time on my servers. Because of bullshit from 08 and 09.
Oh my god.
It's just terrible. It's just a terrible experience to do it. But if you go back and read it, you'll read it and you'll be like, shit, this is not nearly as bad as I thought it is. So you can disagree and you can dislike something.
That's funny.
But purposely putting shit down, like that's like 08. That's 08 behavior, man.
Oh,
like, that's
09,
08.
yeah, 09 was not.
behavior.
09 was not good at all. There was Flame Wars prior, but 09 was not good at all. And the special episode with the dark side of the OCW, we can talk about that because I have plenty of context for 09. And then 10 is like a Brave New World. I remember that 10 was okay, but it was only because the people that came in were still super young, so like they didn't have a chance to blossom. And then I guess they started blossoming in 11 and 12, and even then, so yeah. And then 14, you said 13 was. I feel like you're right with 13. At 14, I feel like it was there was a fall off because there was not a lot of people. The people that were left were not exactly enthused. Like, not, they were just like going through the motions. So, you know, you kind of get bare minimum type shit, I guess. And then obviously the Renaissance era was really popular, but a lot of people, but it was also a train wreck, as you can attest to with, you know, PS4 shit and stuff like that. And then 16 was a bit of a culmination of that too. 17, we were kind of getting things together, but we still had elements of ugh. And then 18 was kind of pretty. 18 started off a little rough, and then we cleaned the room, and 18 started fucking jumping and jiving, and we've been pretty good. We've been steadily climbing for the most part ever since. At least I think. I don't think we've plateaued yet. So I don't know. I think this is a good place to end it. Do we have any? Because we're maybe I'll split this in two, but probably not. It's only an hour 32. But do we have any closing thoughts, Jim? You want to ask something? I know I haven't really spoken to you a lot.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Like 5 times.
So here's the thing. It's okay. I listened to a lot of this, and then the overriding theme here is that you all have it very good in 2025, right? Comparatively to what Jay was dealing with in 2005, 6, 7, 8, and even 9, which again will get its own show, right? I think that history is extremely important. I think all of you can attest to that. You learn from history, you kind of grow, and to understand why the 21 plus year history of OCW is so important. These types of events and shows are extremely important to kind of highlight of like what the, in a way, what you would call, I guess, the founding fathers of OCW had to go through, and, the different trials and tribulations that Jay had to go through. As you probably, and Jay tells all these little different stories on the post shows and in the BP after, but like to kind of formalize all of that and put it all in a chronological order, if you will. And you'll see that, like, the whole entire point here is that OCW has had many different names come and go over time, right? And that there's always one consistent force that's here. And he's on the podcast with us, right? And it doesn't work without him. So that's really my closing thought is that...
Nate Ortiz ain't in here!
Yeah. I was going to say, Adam's not even on the server. What are you talking about? Let me stop.
Yeah. But the whole point is that, you know, when it comes down to it, Jay has always continued to grow OCW, learn from the things that have happened before, has continued to grow it and formulate it. And you'll see as we kind of get into more of these later years, more and more, you know, all of the different formative groups of people in time that make it what it is, right? Because like you'll eventually get to like what the Team Reliable, the Ambition 4 plus Trad, like all of that stuff, right?
Well, yeah, you can break it down. Sorry to cut you off. You can break it down prototype, and basically, it goes Inner Circle, to I guess the Ambition 4 plus Trash, to Team Reliable, and then to whatever you want to call it now, and then to the production era.
You skipped the Turmoil 5.
There you go. Sorry. Well, no, the Turmoil 5 is a product of the Team Reliable. If you want to add context, because basically Team Reliable and Inner Circle, all that was is like here, perfect example. There was some holes to be filled on Ambition. Somebody, Jim was like, we're missing stuff, and people filled in. Team Reliable, you know, get her done. So these were Inner Circle was the same instance. It's like, there, like you said, shows are missing or shows are canceled. There's a gap. Let's fill it in. Pause. We used to joke about me booking a show on a Tuesday for Wednesday deployment, and by Wednesday morning and afternoon, I would have the videos. Like, so think of it this way, like you know what I'm saying, like. Oh, hey, Riot's on Wednesday. Did the card go out? No. It's Tuesday. Oh, shit, here's the card. Okay, Wednesday, and then here's your show on Riot. It wouldn't be like at 8 o'clock. It might be like at 9 o'clock or some shit like that, or whenever the fuck it's done, but it'll be done on Wednesday. You know, shit like that. But the point I'm making is that, you know, these were people that would not be relied upon, but like they would step up when step up would be needing. So then when anybody would try to come up who didn't have that same work ethic, it was like, you can fuck off, because if you're not going to be on our level, then I don't give a fuck what you're doing. No, you gotta be in it. You gotta be in it to support the cause, not just to support these nuts, you know, yourself. So that was an ideal. And I think over time that progressed. So we've adapted from Inner Circle to Team Reliable to the Ambition, like, you know, and now that's the standard modus operandi. So it's not like, you know, if you submit a video without an entrance, you're castrated by Jake. In 2012 or 2009, most times matches just start in the ring with music playing. And that's because people like Jake, people like Pew, people like Dupree, people like Nate, people like me. What the fuck are you doing? No, do it right. And then eventually, this is where we get to. We get to the standard where people want to maintain the standard. There was a time when we would only get one video. So yes, Jim is being gracious, and I appreciate that, but it also comes from the fact that the community was slowly molded into being these consistent production-based entities in some capacity.
Well, see here, the community also, I think, has evolved in a way from, you know, historically, from where it's like, don't get me wrong, there's going to be squabbles, and, you know, the shout box turns into Discord in modern days, etc., right? And there's going to be back and forth. But I think as a community, I guess I'll use the term, we kind of police ourselves in terms of the ground floor of content more.
Yeah, that's a good
idea. Like if you can't cover the breakout box, you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Like, and relax. People tell you you're a fucking idiot. Yeah. I mean, it's the truth. Yeah. I mean, I'm not using the words that people don't say when stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, the whole point is that, like, over time, because you've continued and you fought through all of this stuff and you cultivated this community and you've kept up the standards and done all of that stuff, you know, that's what you've come up with. So it's important to understand that when you're listening to history podcasts and understanding where we come from as to where we are today and how remarkable it really truly is with, like, that we have production standards.
Cut it out.
You know, that we have. Well, I mean, but it's the truth, Jay. I mean, I'm not even trying to like glaze you or anything. Like, it's just the reality of what we're talking about, right? And like, this isn't the old country anymore, you know, in terms of like what we do and what we're able to produce. It's become a much more polished product. And this is all because of, especially probably those first, like 5-6 years, you know what I mean? That you had to deal with and refine and try and do things and learn what worked and what didn't work. And, you know, all of that stuff. So like, you know, when it comes down to it, all of the stuff is fun. But this is another reason, you know, another part of the conversation of why, in terms of history, every era is treated differently. I'll use like a basketball reference. 80s basketball isn't today's basketball. They were judged on a different slope. The game was different back then. OCW in 2005 was a different game than it is in 2025. You know? So that's what you know, what you got to understand with the history is like that we have evolved quite a bit. And it's always fun just to kind of hear, because it's like, you always know who like the key players are from that era. Like you've heard a bunch of names today, like Nate Ortiz, you know, you've heard Majin's name a bunch. You've heard Versus, RD Money, you know, Mayhem, a bunch of people who the vast majority aren't around anymore, right? But be forever thankful for what they were able to do for you, so that we have OCW in 2025 and it's surviving and even thriving. And we gotten to a point where Jay literally is like, y'all need to stop doing so many goddamn videos. You know,
or at least lower, like use some like, hey, if you don't want to write because you think people are not going to read it, okay, fine, that's fair. Then make a minute segment. That way, if your segment stinks, it's only been a minute of my life. Like, you know, we gotta like do more. Like the rule of 3 is what Dan said, and I don't know the rules exactly in front of me right now. He said it, and I was like, that's a good idea. And then I was like, I should apply that. And then I forgot what it is. Matter of fact, let me see. Rule of 3. Rule of 3 principle suggests that information in groups of 3 is more engaging, memorable, and persuasive to human. Emphasis, clarity, rhythm, structure, examples. Friends, Romans, countrymen, life, liberty, in pursuit of happiness, the 3 little pigs, the 3 musketeers, the 3 stooges. This is not giving me a thing. Survival statistics, what the fuck? I don't know. Whatever. Look up rule of 3. It's easy, but I can't find it right now, and I'm not trying to pretend while I'm half sloshed to begin with. But yeah, keep it simple, stupid. I don't fucking know. A lot of look. Basically, put it like this. In paraphrasing it, the fucking this yesterday's show, which is I gotta like start working on it now because I have the videos. The videos are done. They're uploaded. The YouTube is they're tagged up, but they're not fully named. All the thumbnails are done as well, but they have to now be like. The names have to be fixed and they have to be uploaded in sequence, like starting now. They should have been started earlier, but they're starting now. Fuck it, I don't care. And then, you know, it was like almost 40 videos, so that's like a pay-per-view on a Friday. Which I mean, I'm complaining, yes, but at the same time, this is where we're at now. These, you know, we all come together. So I think Jake said it best that like you're supposed to be here for OCW, not for yourself, to make OCW better. And I don't know, apply that if you will or how you will. Adam, any closing thoughts that you want to add?
Junko.
Oh, God.
Jinx. C-Note.
Oh, no.
Daddy's watching.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I thought you said we coming for you, and then I had to stop you. Sorry.
No, he's not using a pass on this.
He can't
have it recorded.
He can't. No.
You guys ruined that. I was hoping that was yeah, that's not as dramatic as I.
Nah, Junko Girona, C-Note, Jinx, we coming
Junko Girona, we're coming for you.
Wasn't there supposed to be 4 names on that list, not 3?
Shit, I forgot. Fucked it up.
Keep receipts, baby. C-Note talking real bold from a guy he lost to. It's crazy. I think you watch. Well, no, I keep telling you watch, and that's funny because you get all mad. Anyway, I'm not here for psychological torture. Thank you for helping us recap bits of history. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If not, I don't give a fuck. We will be talking about the dark side of OCW, definitely 2009 in the near future.
2009 fucking sucks. An absentee dad is what we got on our hands.
Andy, don't yell. What I need you to do for 9 is once you get the full picture, then we can do it. We can have Jim sit it too, because I know for a fact 9 is an utter shit show. But I want you to give me some like more tangible information so I can help resuscitate like my memory, because I know my part of the reasoning. I know like where I failed, but it's a whole snow cone of horseshit. It's not good at all. It's so bad. And even when it was still bad, we still had like 12 pay-per-views or some shit like that. It was crazy. Even on our worst day, we're still better than the worst. Holy shit, that's crazy. Anyway, thank you for listening. We appreciate your time. Enjoy yourself. This will be out in the middle of the week because fuck all that. Okay, bye.